What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday's Die Hard MMA podcast. How is everybody doing today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening. As always, my favorite day of the week, Monday, we got the podcast rolling. How's everybody doing? Thank you all so much for jumping in the chat with me. We've already got 94 people rocking to get the night going. How are you all? Grateful Dude, Clay Disc, Richard Martinez. We've got Tyler, Hannah, more Clay Dude, Mr. Anonymous. What's up? That's right. In case you all haven't heard, tonight is the episode of Free Swag. I'm rocking the Fireball and Popcorn t-shirt. We're giving out shirts this evening, folks. And what I said on Twitter, the more people we've got in the chat, the more t-shirts I give out. So make sure you jump over to Twitter, hit that retweet button, let people know they need to get their butts in here because we got some free stuff to give away. Now, I do have limited availability, so it's going to be first come, first serve. I'm going to be taking notes of who are the giveaways, and you'll be able to pick your t-shirt, pick your size based on what's available. I've only got larges and extra larges, so I do apologize if you don't need one of those sizes. If you need something bigger, if you need something smaller, head on over to pubsportsradio.com. They're the ones that are making all these awesome t-shirts for me, and you'll be able to order the appropriate size there. So I apologize if you can't do the large or the XL, then unfortunately you won't qualify for the contest, or just give the shirt away to a friend or family member. So there's always that option. They make great gifts. How is everybody doing this evening? So you know what, on that note, while I'm on the t-shirt giveaway, while we're talking about it, I just want to go ahead and say, Grateful Dude, first one in the chat, you get a t-shirt, buddy. You're on the list. You automatically are one of the t-shirt winners for the evening. Thank you so much for diving in early and hanging out. We've got Jason Derulo, James Woodruff. We've got Kevin Wallace, Inrad, Taylor Ladin. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Odds HQ in the house. Thank you so much, everybody. And you know what? I have one other t-shirt to give away to go ahead and kick this thing off. If y'all saw the intro video, or sorry, the intro quote, I always like to go ahead and put something that's gambling related, that's positivity related, that gets us in the right mindset, gets us rolling. And what you may not realize is that was a quote from the greatest poker movie of all time. That was a quote from Rounders. And Jay Pitcher, my man, you got it. So Jay called out Rounders. Jay gets a t-shirt. That's how we're rocking this evening. So good job, Jay. You and Grateful Dude are on my list. You guys are both winners of free Die Hard MMA swag t-shirts this evening. I will be hitting people up after the show or on Twitter. Make sure I can get in touch with you in some sort of fashion. As always, my Twitter is at DieHardMMAPod, so if I call you out as a winner, make sure you're following me so that I can DM you and I know who it is, because some people have different names on YouTube and different names on Twitter, so it's kind of hard to tie you all together sometimes. But hey, we will figure it out. All right, everybody doing great. I love all the positivity in the comments section. What's up, everybody? If I didn't get to you, there's a lot of people pouring in. We're already up at 1:38. Thank you all so much for spending your Monday evening with me. I appreciate you all so much. You have no idea. So the very first thing that I need to do, first things first, okay? I've actually got to give a little bit of an apology. So something happened on Saturday night, and so first and foremost, I had kind of a rough night, okay? Minus 2.2 units. It's not that bad. It happens. We can do a whole lot worse. We've done a whole lot worse. It's really nothing. But I was frustrated. The way the last couple weeks have gone, we have been losing by just a hair. Mistakes on my part, tiny little mistakes in the fight, just missing being off by one round, like stuff like that. So I was a little bit frustrated. And yeah, where's that? What's up? That's right. Free swag and free picks. You can't beat that. Welcome to the show. So I was a little bit frustrated. And as always, when I'm hanging out watching the fights, your boy's doing fireball shots. So no joke, at this point, I'm about 16 shots deep and feeling myself. And then people started kind of coming after me for the way that I was tracking my picks. You all know you're going to get nothing but open honesty and straightforwardness with your boy. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm never going to try to hide anything. But some people were kind of nitpicking with the way that I track my record. And what ended up happening is we had one or two jerks. You know what I mean? We had one or two people that were just kind of being a little much. But then we had about 4 or 5 people who were legitimately looking out for me and or legitimately confused at the way that I was posting my picks. So I got a little hot, and I responded to a couple people a little strongly, and I should not have done that because I kind of got set off on the wrong foot. I was a little frustrated by the people who were legitimately being dicks, and then the other people just kind of got lumped in with them. I assumed they were coming hot at me too. So I want to apologize. I'm sorry. That's definitely something I'm not going to do anymore. I know a lot of you were confused by what I was posting, and I just want to clear the air on that. I am man enough to always let you know if I messed up. I'm man enough to apologize when I feel like I slipped, so I definitely will go ahead and throw that out there. And Machiavelli, thanks for tuning into the show, buddy. So what we're doing at this point, I've always done my record. I've always tracked my wins, my losses, things like that, but story time. About 2-3 years ago, when the Die Hard MMA podcast was just a glimmer in your boy Clint's eye, people wanted pick records. People just wanted fight picks. That's what it was all about. So what I started doing is anytime I got a fight pick right, I gave myself credit for that. So if I had a parlay and I tied 2 or 3 fighters together, even though it was just one parlay, I would give myself credit for the 2 or 3 fight picks that were in that parlay because people cared about fight picks. So that's what the record was. That's what it always was that I would throw out, hey, I went 5-2 tonight, even if 2 of those were tied into a parlay, because I was giving out my fight picks record. And what's happened is that the Die Hard MMA podcast has taken off far more than I ever could have imagined. And I never expected to be sitting in front of an audience. I never expected to have as many followers as I do. So it's just something that hasn't evolved. I've always followed that same process, and granted, it's outdated. So really, I've been kind of tracking my record in a wonky way that most other people don't, and a lot of people think it's incorrect. And it's just because that's what I originally did, and I never had the wherewithal to go ahead and fix that. So at this point, I'm going to just kind of stop tracking the fight picks record, because even if my record is like 80 wins and 90 losses, it's probably worse than that, just because if I'm tracking all the little sprinkles that we do, you know, I like to do my rounds 3, 4, and 5 props, that kind of thing. Well, if we hit one of those and the other 2 lose, really they should be 1-2, right, on my record. It should show 1 win, 2 losses, even if it was only for like a 0.2 unit or something like that. So the whole thing is just messed up. At this point, we're just going to track units because I can't really think of another solution to go ahead and throw that out there. Animal Mother, why not track on Bet MMA? And that is kind of the other thing, is I've been a little resistant. I messed up on Bet MMA to begin with. I originally started tracking, and then I got, as the podcast started to take off, as you all know, I have a family, I have a full-time job, I've got a daughter, so like, every once in a while, I would just forget to put my picks in. The problem I have with Bet MMA is that it's a tout service. They want you to put your picks in before the fights start so that it's locked in. You can't edit it after the fights are over. Sometimes I get a little busy with my life, with my daughter, with other stuff going on, and I forget to get my bets into a third-party tracking site like Bet MMA Tips, and then you just can never go back and put them back in. So that's my problem with a site like that. I'm not trying to go tout. I don't want people to pay me for my picks. That's never been the goal. You will always get free information, all my reads, and a fun show. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not trying to sell my picks. So Bet MMA isn't really the perfect home for me, because if the fights happen and I wake up on Sunday morning and I go, oh shit, I forgot to put my bets in, that's just gone. That whole event is just out the window. So right now, if you go on betmmmatips.com and you search for the Die Hard MMA podcast, it's a massive down spike because somehow I alternated wins and losses for about 4 months there, and I only managed to track the losing nights. I don't know how I did it, but I would never get the nights that I won plugged into Bet MMA Tips, and I tried to get back into it and be consistent with it, and every single time I fell off the rails. I'm too scatterbrained, unfortunately. So that's the whole story behind Bet MMA Tips. I absolutely think that it's a great service, and I would love to have that information. I just wish there was a free version that I could go back and enter my picks in after the fact, so that I could actually get that stuff in. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and move on. Yeah, Tank, sorry about that, man. You're right. We're going to lose people, and I don't want to lie on it too much. But like I said, I felt like I had to apologize. I just wanted to go ahead and clear the air. There were some people that probably got a little more roasting than they needed to. So, Ryan Diamond, what's up, buddy? Brady Magny. That was the easiest one of the night. I wish I'd gone harder on that one. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap, as always, of last week. We always go ahead and start with a recap of the event, and I have some things to say. I'm going to fire through it as quickly as possible because we spent a little extra time on other stuff this morning. So instead of going over the entire card from last week, let's just go over the bets so we can fire through it a little bit quicker. We kicked our night off with Emily Spitfire Whitmire. And here, the only way that I messed up here, in my opinion, is that I should never have gone 2 units. End of story. So what we had was someone who I felt had the striking advantage and the wrestling advantage, and I stand by that. Everything we saw in that fight confirmed that. I got her at plus 100. We got her a slight underdog price. The reason that she was an underdog to begin with and the weakness in the fight was her jiu-jitsu. That's where her opponent had the advantage, and sure enough, women's MMA, we got the armbar from guard. So started the night off on a bad foot. I don't hate my spot taking a shot there on Emily Whitmire. I feel like she had enough advantages in the fight that getting dog money was plenty to go ahead and pull that trigger. And I will continue to do that because that's how I've always done it. And so far, I've been positive units over my lifetime. Maybe not in 2020, but in 2019 we crushed it, and I'm sure that the variance will swing back our direction. I just never should have gone that hard on it. I didn't need to. I don't know why. I saw dollar signs and unfortunately paid for it. The next thing up that I want to talk about is Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres. Hey, the post weigh-in show on Fridays, folks. You got to make sure that you tune into Odds HQ post weigh-in show that I do on Fridays because it's undefeated. It's unreal, the reads that I am pulling from the weigh-in show. Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres was an absolute smash spot, and what I should have done was not get greedy. So I ended up sprinkling the rounds 2 and round 3 submission props because what ended up happening for me is I really wanted to play Alex Caceres by submission, and I couldn't get it. I don't know why. I could only get inside the distance, and that was like plus 220, and for some reason my brain went, that's not enough. I was like, he's not going to knock this kid out. So I don't want that. And I know the submission prop is going to be like 7, 6, 8 to 1, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't want 2 to 1. I want more than that. And because of that, I went with the round props because I figured he could at least survive round 1 with a slow starter like Caceres. Bit me in the ass. He gets the round 1 submission. It's easy cheese. And instead of getting fancy, I should have just hammered inside the distance. I could have made that a 2-unit bet. I could have just hit it for a full unit instead of the sprinkle of point. Anyway, I screwed up again. That's my bad. I was more than excited to see so many of you cashing with that submission read, that prop bet online. I saw on Twitter just really blow up. A lot of people hit Caceres after that read. So even though I didn't put money in my pocket, I am super happy that a lot of you put money in your pocket. And thank you, Mike. Yeah, it was kind of a bit of a tough beat. Usually Caceres doesn't come out that hot in round 1. So yeah, it just is what it is, unfortunately. Alessio Di Chirico taking on Zach Cummins. This is one that I was really happy with myself. Getting the decision prop at plus 210. I was like, oh, that is like solid value. And then Di Chirico came out so hard he almost finished. I thought I was going to end up being on the prop when he won on the money line again and just pull what's left of my beard hair out. But luckily, it ended up getting to the decision. And honestly, I missed round 2. I missed all of round 2. I was doing something with my daughter, helping her get dinner set up. I saw round 1. I know that was all Chirico all day. And then round 3, I actually thought that Di Chirico did enough to go ahead and win that third round. And then the last second head kick. I cannot believe, there's literally 1 second left on the clock, and I'm pulling my phone out to type, I think we got it, and boom, he goes down. That was Such a buzzer beater. Now, I don't know for certain that we would have cashed that bet because Cummins could have gotten round 3 all on his own before that, but I thought that Alessio did enough to get round 3 without that head kick. So that was a frustrating spot. That was unfortunate. And yeah, Matt, Cummins is an absolute gamer. That was rough. Like I said, feels like a buzzer beater. Feels like losing with a 3-point shot with no time left on the clock. Something like that. Hey, Boston Nick, buddy, welcome to the chat. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, my friend. I saw, the chat is moving too quickly. I saw somebody say something very kind about me having guests on the show and that me and Lynch have been doing some good stuff. He's a positive dude. I love having James on the show. Don't you worry. He will be back on the show. And actually, y'all are in for a treat because I've got back-to-back guests for you. We've got guests next week. We've got guests the week after. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you all wondering who it's going to be because we got some good ones. I'm excited. So then we get to, and obviously we cashed the 2-unit play, Brady Magny, so lock up 2 units there. Good stuff. Our whole night rides on Anthony Smith. And plain and simple, this was just a bad pick. This was just a bad pick because Anthony Smith was not ready to come back. My bet on him at plus 250 hinged on him having some gas in the tank, hinged on him being competitive and wanting to be in that octagon, and he wasn't. So that was a problem. I was frustrated by that, and unfortunately, we lost that one. So, like I said, minus 2.2 units on the night. We ride the wave, folks. We understand this. When you're gambling, there's no such thing as winning 100%. You can't. People who are hitting 100% are more than likely lying to you. And, we're just looking to be more positive than negative. So, we're on a little bit of a downswing, but don't worry. We will get it back. So, I'm going to go ahead and... Yeah, Inred, that Cyphers. Okay, I do want to go ahead and talk about Cyphers. Holy crap, folks. I said that I thought Cyphers was live, and there was this weird little tingly on the back of my neck saying we should bet Hannah Cyphers. No, not true. She came out, and I thought, you know what, that fight could have been stopped. Hannah Cyphers absolutely could have won by round 1 TKO, but when the referee didn't stop it, she completely ran out of gas. What a fight. That was just absolutely wild. Razor Sharp Picks, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the chat. Thank you very much. We hit 200, folks. We hit 200 live viewers, and that's what I was looking for. I've got 2 t-shirts to give away right now for us going ahead and hitting 200. So what I want you guys to do, so the fairest way that I can possibly do this, it's as close as I can get to putting your names in a hat and then drawing a name while we're doing this live. I want you all to just type the word t-shirt. Hit t-shirt, type t-shirt in the chat. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. It's going to pop up and populate here in my comment section. I'm going to cover my eyes and scroll around a little bit, and then I'm going to point at the screen, and whichever 2 names I land on, you guys are getting free t-shirts. So t-shirt, everybody hit it up right now. T-shirt, there we go. All right, I'm closing my eyes. You guys can see this. I'm literally doing this live. And just to make sure it's fair, I'm hitting the scroll wheel. You can't see it on my finger. It's off screen. But I'm hitting the scroll wheel because then the people who are in front are not getting screwed. The people who are in back are not getting screwed. It's going to land somewhere. I have no idea where. I honestly have no idea where. So here we go. Finger it goes. And we have Rose D. Rose D, you're a winner. I'm going to do one more. Again, follow me over at Die Hard MMA Pod on Twitter. And make sure I know who you are, because I'm going to write down these names and list them out, and then I'll be able to DM you for your shipping info and all that good stuff. So we're going again. Here's that finger. Say that to your doctor. Rose D and Juicy Q. Congratulations, folks. Juicy Q and Rose D, you guys both have earned yourselves a Die Hard MMA Podcast t-shirt this evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. All right. And with that, the first giveaway is complete. We'll do another one throughout the evening. Don't worry. And like I said, the more those numbers get up there, if we can get up around, that record number there, we got 500 that one time. We want to give away more t-shirts, get more people in here. That's how it works. So let's move into this thing, right? Let's go ahead and get the night started. We've goofed around. We've had some fun. It is time to talk about UFC Vegas 9. Yes, I'm a dad, and I make dad jokes, and that rhymed, and I'm sorry. So, okay, here we go. You know what? I am glad that you popped up and said this, Rick Ramon. Chasing dogs too much and gotta pick guys based off their skills, not the line. Full on disagree, my friend. So here's the thing. What got me to the dance? I had a positive year the first 2-3 years that I've done MMA handicapping, and I cash on big, fat, juicy underdogs with more regularity than most people you're going to find giving away free picks. And you know what? When you go to prom, your girl gets all done up, you hold the door for her, you walk her in, your friends are all there, you're taking pictures. You don't look across the road and go, damn, she looks good, and then just ditch your girl, right? You don't just walk off and go hang out with some other girl now that you're there at the... No, you stick with the girl you brought to the dance. I'm a dog hunter, baby. It's what I do. I believe in value. I believe that in the long term, if I am correctly identifying value on fighters, that they will pay out for me. I do definitely, obviously, try to pick winners, but the line is all that matters. At the end of the day, that line has a big, big significance to it. So, for instance, if we're talking about Rakic and Smith, if it's a pick'em, if it's an even money pick'em, yes, I'm going to take Rakic. But he wasn't at a pick'em. He was a minus 300. And the fight is a whole lot closer than that. That's how I've always done it. That's how I'm going to continue to do it. So, I hope you're here. My reads, my information, all that stuff is free. And please think for yourself, make your own choice. If you choose to tail me, I am not a professional gambler. I'm a degenerate. I'm a dad bod who knows a thing or two about MMA. That's about it. The dog catcher. That's right. All right. Let's do it. So we are talking UFC Vegas 9. First fight of the night. We have Hunter Azure taking on Coltrane Smith. So, okay. Right before we get to that, there's maybe 2 more fights on this card. I just want to go ahead and get that here out of the way. So it's rumored that Menifield versus OSP is going to get moved onto this card. I guess OSP popped for COVID. It's supposed to be maybe this weekend. I haven't confirmed that, so my breakdown on that one maybe be forthcoming. We've already broken it down a couple times, so I don't necessarily need to cover that one, but maybe that one's on this card. I'm not sure. And then actually, I think we have Kama Worthy versus Otman Azaitar on this card. So I'll break that one down next, even though they're not going to be listed here on the UFC site. So Cole Smith taking on Hunter Azure. And what I've got for this one is both these guys are coming off the very first loss of their career. Both fighters were undefeated heading into this matchup. And Cole Smith is just a balls-to-the-wall offensive grappler. Oh, Brian, my man, coming in hot. I love it. Dog catcher's the next t-shirt. Maybe so. Oh, MMA locker room. Common fight got moved. Hit me up again, man. Mills, my boy. Where to get moved to? Is it this weekend or is it next weekend? Let me know. So Cole Smith, this guy just grapples. That's all he does. He uses trips. He likes to transition to the back. He's dangerous if he gets on your back. If he does get put on his back, he's dangerous from the bottom. He likes to attack with elbows and things like that. The thing that concerns me about Cole Smith is that he really isn't defensively sound striking. And every single mixed martial arts fight starts on the feet, right? So yes, these grapplers can get out here and do some serious work, but they've got to start on the feet, and he's just not quite there yet. Okay, cool. MMA locker room saying that one got moved over to September. So maybe we don't worry about the Kama Worthy fight so much today. Pocket, what's up, buddy? Thanks for hanging out. Never scared to bet it now. Yeah. Whenever that value gets steamed off, that's a big deal. So, Hunter Azure on the flip side of this thing. This guy comes out of the Fight Ready gym. That's where Henry Cejudo is from, one of my absolutely favorite gyms of all time. I think they're on the rise. We talked about Hunter Azure, and I actually went against my boy, Brian Boom Kelleher. Joshua, I'm a complete moron. You're right. It is September. 2020, right? This year just never stops moving. Holy crap. I didn't even realize... Okay. Yep. It's September already. Sorry, folks. Hey, like, share, and subscribe, folks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Hunter Azure, he's a solid wrestler. This dude's an absolute tank, right? Like Cole Smith, he is big. He's a big bantamweight, but Hunter Azure is a wide bantamweight. This guy's an absolute tank. He's a little muscle dude, and he's got big power in his hands, big pop in his hands. He wings big punches. He works the body. He actually showed some really improved striking. What happened in his last fight out against Brian Boom Kelleher is he really disrespected the UFC veteran. Coming up a weight class on short notice, even myself, I thought Hunter Azure was going to knock him out and just kind of run through him. When that didn't happen, Azure had gassed himself out, left himself completely defenseless, and I think that's the kind of fight that you learn from, right? Cole Smith is coming off a squeaky split decision loss, absolutely could have gone his way. It was close. I don't know if he's really going to evolve much from that kind of a fight or think that he needs to do much differently from that kind of a fight. Hunter Azure, on the other side, is going to make big improvements coming off of that kind of a loss. Even though he just got cracked and knocked out cold like 3 months ago, normally I like to see people take some time off after that kind of a bad knockout, but I think that he's the kind of guy that was knocked out more from being gassed out than actually being knocked out, if that makes any sense. Hunter Azure right now is sitting at a decent-sized favorite, and I'm a little nervous to trust him going back to laying chalk on him, but I feel like it's a favorite or pass situation here. Cole Smith doesn't set his takedowns up. He gasses out late in fights, and all he does is grapple as he chucks forward, trying to press this thing up against the cage, trying to get this thing to the ground. I think he's going to be easy pickings for Hunter Azure to land a big bomb. Cole Smith doesn't have the striking of a guy like Brian Kelleher to dig deep when Azure starts to slow down, when he starts to get a little sloppy. Smith isn't going to knock him out. Smith isn't going to hurt him the way that Boom Kelleher did. So as long as Hunter Azure can defend those takedowns, I think he probably knocks out Cole Smith and bounces back. One of these guys is going to end up with 2 losses on their record, and yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer, unfortunately. It should be a fun fight, though. Should be a fun fight. I'm going to go ahead and go with Azure here. Not betting it. If the props come out, Azure by decision. Actually, let's see maybe if we can get a line on that one. Hunter Azure wins by decision is plus 110. That's kind of the way that I would probably tend to look, because Cole Smith has yet to actually be cracked. I don't know if his chin is actually going to give out. There's the chance that he can land that big KO bomb, but I'm not sure. I'm probably, like I said, I'm probably just going to pass on that fight, but that's definitely the way that I would lean. How's everybody thinking tonight? How y'all doing? We've got 254 people live on the show. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Billy saying that Hunter is the Canadian killer. Yeah, you know what? Right now he is, and he can definitely continue that run. Martial arts fan saying parlay him. Don't necessarily mind that. I mean, I was very, very high on him last fight. I'm not going to jump off of him just because he got knocked out by a guy in Brian Boom Kelleher that pulled that vet savvy over the top of him here. All right. Cole could make it ugly. That's absolutely accurate. That's the only thing that kind of concerns me. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. All right, let us move on, right? So now we've got Alexander Romanov taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima. This is another really fun fight. This is a heavyweight tilt. We got the big boys going at it. Alexander Romanov is 11-0, undefeated prospect, making his UFC debut. He was actually supposed to make his debut against Rafael Pessoa about 3 months ago. And that fight got called off. I think it was travel issues because of COVID that he wasn't able to get over and have that fight take place. So now he draws Marcos Rogerio de Lima, 17-7-1. This is another one of those kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel UFC heavyweights, and they're trying to make Alexander Romanov a thing, in my opinion. I'm kind of showing my hand already with that, but let me tell you, Romanov is a big boy. This is a big dude. And based off of his Instagram, he looks like he's really been taking this thing seriously. He is in much better shape than I've personally ever seen him in. You go back and watch a lot of his fight videos, and he is just flabby. I mean, this giant dude with big old man boobs swinging around everywhere, like just ugly heavyweight body type. Now he looks like he fits his name. They call him King Kong, and he looks like freaking King Kong. He is ready to go. What this guy does is he slams people to the mat. He is a big wrestler. He picks people up, he lifts them over his head, and then he just mauls them. You do not want to be under this guy. Once he's on top of you, he smashes. All right. Now, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, like I said, this is kind of a bottom of the barrel scraping type of heavyweight. He really probably belongs at 205 rather than heavyweight, but he's thick, he's broad, and later in his career, he figured out that his power is translating up at heavyweight, so he's fighting up a class. I don't think he really belongs there, But that's where he is. He's got big, big explosive power. That's really the only thing that he's got. He's got a heavy, flat-footed Muay Thai style, and he just comes in here and looks to knock people out. The biggest issue for him is that takedown defense. He's only got wins over basically UFC dropouts. The last 3 guys that he's beaten are either on a 3-fight losing streak or no longer in the promotion anymore. So now he draws Alexander Romanov, the UFC newcomer. He's being used as a measuring stick. Does Romanov belong in the UFC? Yes or no? That's basically what this comes down to. And luckily, they're giving Romanov a guy who has the perfect fighting style for him, a guy with bad takedown defense. We've got the line set about it to pick him. We've got a slight favorite on Romanov, and I've got to say, I've got to agree. I'm shocked that he opened up the dog here at plus 135. Now, Romanov hasn't fought anybody. He hasn't fought a damn person. Every single person who he has fought is super low level. They're a light heavyweight. They're a 185er. I mean, he's fighting guys way smaller than him, way worse than him. But this is the kind of fight that the UFC, they want this dude to do well over here. Like I said, he's got that shiny 11-0 record. They don't want him to come in here and get floored, knocked out. Obviously, it could happen. That's what Marcos Rogerio de Lima does. But de Lima is such a bad wrestler. I got a feeling he gets put on his butt. Romanov mounts him, probably pounds him out. Don't know that I am going to bet him. Don't know that I'm going to bet him. But I think King Kong gets the win here. How's everybody feeling? How we doing? Yep, Romanov is a thick, thick boy. Here we go. Scrolling through some comments here. All right. Normally I don't even bother engaging in Twitter trolls and things like that, but back at it, I want to go ahead and let you know, no, I don't work for the books, and I lose every time my picks that I give out lose on the show. I bet everything that I say that I am betting, and you are welcome to tail or fade. So go right ahead. Trust me, we don't work for the books. I'm on a bit of a downswing, but you know what? I won 20 units in 2019, and I'm down 2.6 units, I believe, so far in 2020. So it's okay. We got plenty of the year to get this thing right. Nevro, Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series. I'm glad you brought that up, my friend. I'm going to cover that at the end of the show once we get through all of the fight stuff for this weekend's card. I'm going to recap and then do the Dana White's Contender Series picks at the end of the show. We have a live stream coming up. We will be doing tomorrow night live fight companion style, giving out bets. Me, I believe, MMA predictions guru, and then I think Just Bleed is coming on with me. So we're going to have a good time. We are going to have a good time. And Steven, my friend, don't worry. Oh, click the wrong one. Chat's moving too fast. I never listen to the haters. I don't even care. I just have to clarify sometimes. Don't sweat it. We're good. Moving on down the line, we've got Viviane Araujo taking on Montana De La Rosa. And this is actually a really fun fight. This is a good one. So Viviane is 8-2. She's coming into the UFC pretty hot, actually. And I'm not talking about how she looks. She is a hot prospect at the moment, even though she's a little bit older. She's 33 years old. Usually you like to see fighters coming in at, 28, 29, stuff like that. And she's a little bit older, so we're going to see her dip off eventually. But, starting your MMA career late, maybe she's got a little more longevity than some others would. She's taken on Montana De La Rosa. That is the Mrs. De La Rosa of Mark De La Rosa that is no longer with the UFC organization. She's the breadwinner official. She's 25 years old, 11-5. Good solid prospect here as well. And this is a really interesting matchup. It's striker versus grappler. So Montana De La Rosa has been on this fight card for quite some time, and she was matched up with somebody else. Viviane Araujo is actually a late replacement. So Araujo's got kind of a sad story for 2020. She was booked against Jennifer Maia. She was supposed to fight her on June 27th and then again on August 1st. And the travel restriction the first time around canceled the fight. The second time around, Viviane caught COVID, and since she popped, they went ahead and shut it down. So this poor girl hasn't had a fight in all of 2020 and now finally has the opportunity on short notice to dive in here. She has incredible speed. That's the one thing I want to tell you on Viviane, is that her speed is unreal. Very light on her feet, very explosive, good in and out movement. She's got a long jab, big power, athletic, but she fights with her hands low. She's got that Anderson Silva style. She'll rely on her athleticism to really carry her. She fights extremely well moving backwards. She can pop you as you're coming in. She's got really strong hips, a great sprawl. And when she gets on top, she's actually got really, really good top control. It's just a matter of not wanting to be on bottom. She gets stuck on her back. If you can put her on her back, even though she's solid at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, she's one of those top fighters, not one of those bottom fighters. She's nowhere near as good on her back as she is from top position. Montana De La Rosa, she comes from The Ultimate Fighter Season 24. She also has a good jab, strong body lock. Her striking is all basically just to close that distance and get her hands on her opponents. Good double leg takedown timing. She catches kicks and can put people on their back that way, which may come into play in this fight. And she likes to bully people up against the fence. She's a chain grappler. She's another one of these ones that doesn't give up on the first attempt. She always has that second, that third, that fourth attempt to get people to the mat. Now, she does keep her hands low and she is a little bit hittable. She kind of uses that to go ahead and get in and get that takedown. The thing I like about her is that she comes out strong for round 3. She's got a great gas tank and she really never slows down. So we have a couple of shifting dynamics here in this fight. Viviane Araujo is going to be the fast striker who comes out hard in round 1. Montana De La Rosa is going to be the gritty grappler who is looking to capitalize late on the fight. This one's all going to come down to round 2, folks. If Viviane Araujo doesn't get Montana De La Rosa out of there early, I fully expect Montana De La Rosa to work herself back into this fight. And honestly, if Viviane Araujo takes round 1, this may be an excellent betting opportunity to hit Montana De La Rosa live. If you can live bet her after losing round 1, she's going to have unreal odds, and you'll probably stand a decent shot at her squeaking out some kind of a split decision. Montana De La Rosa, I was extremely tempted on her. Right now, she's sitting about plus 155. I see her as high as plus 170 around the market at some places, and I'll be honest, guys, you all know I hunt for dogs. I was very, very tempted to take Montana De La Rosa here. Very tempted. I decided to go ahead and pass and stay off it. I want to see the weigh-ins. Because if Viviane Araujo coming in here on short notice, if she comes in here, weak, basically, she's making a short notice replacement, that weight cut's going to be rough. So if she comes in looking a little sketchy, a little rough around the edges, and I'm worried about her gas tank, I will hammer Montana De La Rosa. If I'm watching round 1 and I see Araujo start to slow down in round 1 towards the end of the round, I will hammer Montana De La Rosa live. I'm telling you both. That's exactly the plan right now. I want Montana De La Rosa, but I'm going to wait for a little bit more information a little on down the road. All right. Cole with me here. Locked in De La Rosa at plus 165. I like it. I really do. Araujo, yep, and martial arts fan Araujo's takedown defense is 100%. That is accurate. She has incredible takedown defense, but like I said, she gasses out and she slows down later on. She's got big, big sprawls, and every single thing she does takes a whole lot of energy. Coming in on short notice, I think that's something that can kind of chip away at her ability to do that later on in the fight. If this drags out, the more it goes, the more Montana De La Rosa has a chance, in my opinion. Just Bleed MMA, what's up, buddy? Thanks for coming to hang out on the show. I appreciate it. Yep, there you go. Araujo has gas tank problems. That's it right there. Yes. Yes, you did. That's exactly what you heard, my friend. Live and on camera. So, all right, let's go. Let's move on here. Thank you very much. We have hit 294 people in the chat. I'm thinking 300. I think a couple more t-shirts get tossed out there if we can go ahead and hit 300. So, pile on in here. We're getting there. We're getting close. So real quick, I want to take a pause. Shout out the boys at GoatCapitalSports.com. They're another sponsor of mine. And make sure you go check them out. They are at GoatCapital_ on Twitter. They have been absolutely crushing basketball. Now, you've got everything you need here at Odds HQ. You get free handicapping. We give out free bets, free picks, all that good stuff. But some people don't have time to listen to the breakdown. Some people just want to go ahead and pay a little something for a pick or a play and have that action right smack dab in their pockets. And if that's you, if you're looking for that easy, quick way, check out GoatCapitalSports.com. Tell them Clint sent you. They love me over there. They will hook you up, and they have been absolutely crushing as of late. So let them know I sent you my way. I'm going to go ahead and get on with this next fight here. Andre Munoz taking on Bartosz Fabinski. This is a fun one, guys. This is a really, really fun fight. And I know I say that every time, but that's because I'm a fight lover. That's what I do. This is my favorite sport on the planet. So I get excited about the most low-level fights. And seriously, I'll just fireball and popcorn my way through the thing. That's right, Marty. Odd Squad, what's up? So, we have got Bartosz the Butcher Fabinski. He is 15-3. 34 years old, so he's getting a little older. He's getting up there. And he's taken on Dana White Contender Series, Andre Munoz, who is 19-4. So what do we do? What do we do? Let's take a look at the line first, right? Let's flip this thing on its head. Bartosz Fabinski opens up as a -180 favorite. Kind of floated around there for a couple days. Now he's sitting about -145. Money has come in on the dog here. Andre Muniz, he was +150 at the open, bet down to about +125. And what's everybody remember about Bartosz Fabinski? Do any of you even know that name? No? Probably not. So what happened was Bartosz Fabinski was a decent UFC prospect. He got 3 UFC wins under his belt right out the gates. And then he got crushed by Michel Tractor Preux in November of 2018. Got clubbed and subbed bad. Now 2 years roll by. He takes 2 full years off. And he comes back against Darren the Dentist Stewart on that Cage Warriors card on March 20th. That's the ever infamous card where everything was getting canceled. We were supposed to have a huge UK event. COVID had just started to swamp. Dana White tried to pull it off. They couldn't save it. And then they sent everybody over to Cage Warriors to go ahead and have that fight. He fights Darren Stewart. He's a big underdog. And he goes ahead and just grapple F's the crap out of Darren the Dentist Stewart. Puts him on his back. Hard-nose wrestles him for a full 15 minutes. And gets that win. So that's where Bartosz Fabinski is sitting. He's a 170 pounder who has moved up to 185 a little bit later in his career, and he is just a pure grappler. He's really rough on the feet, but he's gritty, he's tough, he's a strong offensive wrestler, and he slows down throughout the fight, but he really sells out for the takedown. He just grinds on people. That's what he does. Andre Muniz, on the flip side of this thing, is in his prime. 30 years old, lots of experience, 12 of his 19 wins coming by submission, coming off the Contender Series, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. This dude can strike, he can grapple, he's a mixed martial artist, he can do it all. If he gets on your back, you're dead. He is absolutely slick, backpacking people, and you just don't want to find yourself in that position. So what we have is a well-rounded mixed martial artist who can actually strike versus a grappler who all he wants to do is wrestle, and if he doesn't have top position, you're in trouble. Beach Boss buddy, I'm not sure what you hit, but I'm glad you got it. Tell me it's the Lightning. Those of you who don't know, I degenerate bet on hockey, and I'm on the Lightning tonight, so... Hey, it's the Lightning! 1-0 lead! Woo! So, honestly, I'm just kind of staying patient on this line here. I'm waiting. Because money's coming in again on Bartosz. So the initial money came in on Muniz, and I agree with it. I actually really like Muniz here. Like I said, if this fight happens at all on the feet, Muniz is the better of the two strikers. When this fight hits the mat, we've got a inflated 170 pounder going up against a really big, strong jiu-jitsu black belt. Now, I've talked before about how I like when a solid high-level wrestler takes on a jiu-jitsu player because more often than not, the wrestler is going to stifle the jiu-jitsu offense. But what we have here is a smaller wrestler going up against a bigger, more powerful jiu-jitsu player. So I've got a feeling that if Bartosz Fabinski slows down like we usually see him do in rounds 2 or in 3, I'm kind of expecting that Muniz is going to find an opportunity to get a sneaky submission snuck in there. And if he can pull that bad boy off, that plus 125 doesn't look half bad. I'm fully planning on playing Muniz, but I have not yet pulled the trigger because I'm hoping for a little bit of extra line value. So everybody in the chat, don't just run out and immediately bet Andre Muniz. Try and get us that plus 130 if you don't mind. I'm probably going to go ahead and bet Muniz. That's the plan at this point. I don't believe in Bartosz Fabinski. I don't believe in what he has done at this point. Darren the Dentist Stewart has terrible takedown defense. That's been the Achilles heel of his entire career. And on that COVID card, switching out his opponent from whoever he was supposed to be matched up with to being Bartosz, I believe, on short notice, a wrestler who he did not prepare for, and even if he was prepared for, probably still would get grappled all the way out. I just think that he's getting a little too much respect in this particular matchup. I like the dog here. I like Muniz. I think he's got a really good chance of winning this fight, especially because Bartosz is going to bring the fight in his realm. He's going to put him on the ground or try to get it down there, and that's where Muniz is really, really solid. That's where he really shines. So I like the shot. I'm probably going to go ahead and bet Muniz. Bro, some dad in the chat. What's up, buddy? Thank you very much for hanging out. This is going to be a parlay fight. Locker room, you talking to me, buddy? You're going to parlay Muniz? Who are you parlaying? You're parlaying Fabinski? Tell me. Get in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, I don't think plus 120 is bad. That's the thing. I will take plus 120, plus 125. I will play it. But if I can get plus 135, if it can squeak its way back up to plus 140, I don't know that it will. But if it can, I would love to play it with a little bit more juice. All right. Thank you all so much again for hanging out with me this evening. I appreciate it. That brings us to the end of the preliminary card. We are at 293 viewers, folks. 293. All right, fine. I know we're short of 300, but we just finished the prelims. Let's go t-shirts. Let's do a giveaway. I got two more for you. I got two more t-shirts coming up. I am nothing without you guys. I'm nothing if not a man of the people. So you all know the drill. We're going to do another random roll here. Type t-shirt in the chat right now. I'm going to close my eyes in just a second here, and I'm going to scroll my way around in the chat, and we're going to pick two random winners for another Die Hard MMA podcast t-shirt. So I'm just going to wait here for a minute. I'm going to wait. I'm going to click back over and check my hockey score while y'all are doing that. We still got the lead with Tampa Bay 1-0. If you guys haven't been following my degeneracy in the NHL, I've actually been doing pretty well. All right, here we go. We're scrolling. The scroll machine is going. The finger. Jack Goodwillie. Jack Goodwillie, my friend, you have earned yourself a Die Hard MMA podcast t-shirt. Thank you very much, my friend, for participating. We got one more. One more. Doing it again. Finger. Tyler Hanna. Tyler Hanna's a winner. Thank you very much, everybody. All right. That is six t-shirts we have given out on the show so far this evening. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. Hey, we hit 302 just in time. Perfect. Couldn't ask for anything better. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. That is the end of the preliminary card. We made it. We did it. We're going on over to the main card. Let's break down a few more fights, shall we? Before we do that, I want to go ahead and talk about my sponsors, odds.com. Y'all know them at this point. They're the best in the business. We cover all the sports. Thank you for hanging out. Do me a favor, like the button. That way YouTube and everybody knows that we're doing good stuff, that everybody likes our content. We're putting a bunch of free content out for you guys every single day. Don't forget the odds.com website. I write articles for Odds, as do a bunch of my co-workers. I don't know if they're actually co-workers, but a bunch of other, hot personalities over here at odds.com are not only doing video content, but written content as well. Check them out over there. Support us. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and read those articles. Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for hanging out this evening. All right, first fight of the Main card, we've got Thiago Moises taking on Jalin, the Tarantula Turner. Now, I've got a bit of a problem with this guy because I'm deathly afraid of spiders. I probably shouldn't have told the internet that, but I hate spiders. That's like the one thing that it's like, if you man up, okay, someone busts down my door, I have no problem getting in the face with my jiu-jitsu and boxing background and defending my family. But if my wife says there's a spider in the bathroom, I'm the one screaming and running and tossing a shoe to her so that she can kill it because I freaking hate spiders. So this guy creeps me the hell out because every single time he does anything, he posts pictures of his Instagram with like spiders crawling on him, and he had like 100 tarantulas at one point. It just makes my skin crawl. I can't stand it. They're creepy. So, not a fan, but whatever. He's a good fighter. I like him. Thiago Moises, 13-4-0, taking on Jalin Turner, 9-5. And, okay, Undertaker. All right. Okay, fine. Thanks. Thiago Moises is a Muay Thai striker. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's extremely light on the feet. He's got a good, solid kicking attack, decent boxing. His boxing is okay. I'm not like super impressed with it, but the Muay Thai is solid. He doesn't have a sense of urgency. That's something that sometimes I think people are being calm, they're being cool, they're collected, they let the knockouts manifest, that kind of. This guy has no sense of urgency. He's taken it a little too far off the scale that he doesn't have the sense of urgency that I feel like he needs to finish some of these fights. Especially as a striker, he's got that negative differential. And that's something that I really, really have a hard time with. So in the UFC, if you're a fighter who gets hit more often than you land, it's a bad sign. It's not a good thing because eventually one of these big boys is going to clip you. One of these big boys is going to catch your chin and put you down. Give me a second while I pull these stats up because I actually want to go ahead and quote them since I specifically mentioned the strike differential for you here. All right. So Thiago Moises averages 2.68 significant strikes per minute. Thiago Moises absorbs 3.54 significant strikes per minute. So almost a full significant strike per minute more he's getting hit with. That's a bad look. That's a really bad number. Jalin Turner averages 5.95 significant strikes per minute, and he absorbs 3.91. So he, on the other side, is outstriking his opponents by a full 2 significant strikes per minute. That's the kind of strike differential that I look at, and I'm just like, Now, I know level of competition has to make its way into this conversation, right? Thiago Moises fought Demiris Magulov. Okay. Kurt Holoba. Okay. Benil Dariush. Okay. He's been fighting really solid guys. But in his last fight, he fought Michael Johnson. Thiago Moises landed 1 significant strike against Michael Johnson. He's coming off getting the brakes beaten off of him. That fight could have easily been ended in round 1. Now, he came out in round 2, he turned the tables, he got it to the mat, he got a submission. But if it wasn't for that, he was well on his way to getting plastered by Michael Johnson, who is one of the most inconsistent, maybe worst fighters in the UFC right now. Yes, he's fun. Yes, he's exciting. But no. Bad look. He got the win. He got the finish, but bad look. Jalin Turner has all the physical advantages in this fight. Thiago Moises has a 70-inch reach. Jalin Turner is a massive 6'3" with a 77-inch reach. He's going to tower over Thiago Moises, and he's going to have a full 7-inch reach advantage on this guy. He's going to be able to hit Moises when Moises just has no opportunity to return. And don't forget about the legs. Thiago Moises likes to kick. Well, if you want to kick with a guy like Turner, you're still in trouble because this guy will be able to punch you when you can barely reach him with your toes. And this dude's a finisher. I've been doing my usual stalking on Instagram for this fight, and Jalin Turner's in incredible shape. He's put on a lot of muscle. He's a big, big dude for this weight class. I honestly don't know how he makes lightweight. When he does get on the ground, now I know we've got to talk about his fight against Matt the Steamroller Frevola. Matt Frevola sold out for the takedown. That's what he does. He's from that Saralongo fight camp. Excellent grappler. There's really not a bunch of shame in losing to a guy that can grapple like that. So Jalin Turner gets ground out against Matt Frevola, And his other 2 wins in the UFC have been knockout wins. He did get knocked out by Vicente Luque, but again, let's talk about Vicente Luque, right? Like, that guy knocks everybody out. Your UFC debut and you're getting Vicente, that's a bad draw. When Jalin Turner does get put on his back, he looks to attack, he sweeps, he submits. He's got some nasty chokes, front chokes, big clinch knees. If he gets on top of you, heavy ground and pound, heavy top control. I've got to go with Jalin Turner here. I got in early on Jalin Turner. I think I got him at plus 165. And I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on the dog here. Thiago Moises is making a relatively quick turnaround, like I said, after taking that beating from Michael Johnson. I don't know how recovered he is from that. That was a bad first round. And now he's coming back to fight a guy that, like I said, the physical advantages just mean too much to me in this particular fight. You've got 7 inches of reach on this guy. You've got 5 inches of height on this guy. More than likely going to be the stronger fighter come fight day. As long as he makes weight, as long as he doesn't have a problem on the scales, Jalin Turner, I think, is going to be able to crack Thiago Moises. And Thiago Moises isn't a good enough wrestler to get the takedown consistently on Turner, in my opinion. Maybe he will prove me wrong. But I don't think that Moises is a good enough wrestler. He's a good BJJ black belt. He's a good striker. But I don't think he's a solid enough wrestler to go ahead and get Turner on the mat long enough to go ahead and get the win. So if this mostly happens on the feet, I think Turner clips him. Turner has yet to win a fight by decision. I think he ends up taking this thing by knockout. And I'm going to go ahead and roll those dice. Don't count out, potentially Thiago Moises holding up in this kind of a bash. Maybe he takes those big shots and squeaks his way to a decision and Turner gets his first ever decision win. So that's why I'm playing him straight on the money line instead of taking him by knockout or something like that to increase the juice. I'm going to go ahead and play him straight at plus 165. I think I like that. Thank you very much, PJ. I appreciate you turning in, my friend. Glad you are enjoying the show. Sorry about that. It is hard to read and speak at the same time, folks. You know that? When I'm trying to read through the comments and I'm also trying to respond to somebody, it's difficult. Yes, my friend Kiss, we are live. We are live right now, and we've got 305 people hanging out in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back through here and get caught up on some of these comments. All right, we've got agreement here on Turner. Matt saying Luque was short notice. Then that's just a absolute rough one for the poor kid. Yes, absolutely. I have called off my fade of Vicente Luque. I tried so hard to fade Luque. He made me pay for it every single time. I'm done. I am done. All right. You know what? He's a good black belt, so there's always the chance that Moises can get that submission win. That's totally possible, totally true. But I do think that Jalin Turner is good enough on the mat that he'll be able to stay safe or climb back to his feet. All right, 7 inches, baby. That's right. And let's see here. Yeah, Johnson does have some hands. That's kind of the one thing that he's got going for him. All right, that's it for that one, folks. You got the breakdown. You got the pick. We got an official bet on that one. Let's move right along. It's canceled. No, Brian Boom Kelleher has a short notice replacement, folks. I am pleased to announce Kevin Natividad. Sure, I'm not saying that right. He is filling in for Ricky Simone. We have got a Arizona Combat Sports fighter coming through. Now, some of you may remember the name AZ Combat Sports. They started off with CB Dalloway, with Ryan Bader, way back in the day. That's the gym that jump-started those guys, and really, we haven't seen a high-level professional fighter from them since. So maybe Kevin is going to be the first one that gets them back to the UFC. This dude's a Hawaiian warrior, and we know all about the Hawaiians, right? They're insanely durable. They're insanely tough. They don't give up. I love betting on Hawaiian fighters. He's got decent offensive wrestling, decent boxing. He comes to us from the LFA. The only problem is he's fought a very low level of competition. Noli knows what's up, buddy. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you, my friend. Yep. Baldy Ed. He's been tearing it up on Twitter, that man. Gotta love him. Okay, so Brian Boom Kelleher. One of these fan-friendly type of fighters. Absolutely love this guy. He's funny. He's entertaining. Good wrestler, great gas tank, hits hard, good boxing. He's the one that pulled over the win on Hunter Azure a little earlier this year, and unfortunately, he's priced appropriately here in this spot. Kevin coming in on short notice is a plus 170 dog, and Brian Boom Kelleher opened up at minus 180 and has been bet down to minus 225. And I completely agree with it. You can't give me a short notice guy like Kevin coming in against a vet like Brian Boom Kelleher and make me think I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on the dog here. If his wrestling is just okay, and from what I've seen, like I said, his wrestling is okay. It's not fantastic. He's not going to be able to take down Brian Kelleher. Hunter Azure wasn't able to take down and control Brian Kelleher, and he's a proven UFC caliber guy. So if this 9-1 Kevin, who's fought nothing but bums, comes in here and thinks he's going to put Boom on his back, I don't see it. Boom reminds me a little bit of John Dodson, where he just doesn't stay down long unless you're a serious wrestler. And remember, don't forget, Boom is coming off of the fight with Cody Stamann. Cody Stamann couldn't put Brian Kelleher down. This kid is not taking down Brian Kelleher. So this is going to be a boxing match. Both these guys are going to look to move around. Both these guys are going to look to bang. And with one coming in on short notice, definitely have to favor the proven commodity with way more experience than Brian Kelleher. This is a huge, huge step up for Kevin. I do want to see the weigh-ins, but maybe Brian Kelleher is worthy of being called a parlay piece at this point in time. Brian Kelleher is 5'6". So is Kevin, so it's not like Kevin's going to be like a massive guy coming in here being able to tower over him or anything like that. I like Kelleher in this spot. I'm not betting it at this point myself personally. There's not a whole lot of favorites on this card. This is another one of those cards where everything's really right around that pick'em price, right? There's not a whole bunch of minus 200 favorites. These are the cards that are really fun to bet. You can make an entertaining argument for either side of a lot of these fights, and it's really volatile. A lot of people are going to disagree on this kind of a card, and it makes it fun for conversation. We can all be kind of bantering back and forth on this one. Oh, dang it. All right, they gave up the lead. Thanks for keeping me in the loop, Beach Boss. I appreciate you doing that. That helps me out so I can focus on the show and not leave everybody in the dust sweating my hockey. Yeah, damn. All right. And I do like, you know what, Neil, that's a good point. I like Kelleher's consistency. You know exactly what you're getting from this guy. He's not a bed shitter. He's not a guy that's going to suddenly change his style up and do something different. He's getting a decently quick turnaround. He's fought during the COVID times before. He's comfortable in this situation. Really good spot for Kelleher, in my opinion. If there was a big chalky favorite on the card to like, in my opinion, it would be Brian Boom Kelleher. Take that as you will. Use him as a parlay piece if you want to. Go nuts. Have fun. Here is the fight. Holy crap, folks. Holy crap. We've got Michel Pereira taking on Zelim Imadaev. This fight is going to be straight fireworks. If there's anything I can tell you on this fight, please don't bet it. That's all I can say. Please don't put your money on this fight. Oh, Goofy Wagers, what's up, my friend? Thank you. I appreciate that. This fight is two super inconsistent fighters that may or may not be UFC caliber, going at it, fighting over a bone that Dana White is throwing in the center of the cage. This is, you remember a couple years ago we had the Violence Championship when we had Dustin Poirier taking on Justin Gaethje. These guys are fighting over the insanity belt, right? So Zelim Imadaev, we know about these Russians. These guys are monsters. This is the one who's kind of not really the guy, right? He had a great record. He was 8-0 coming over to the UFC. He gets ground out by Max Griffin, and then he gets knocked out by Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. Not really a great look when you're supposed to be another one of these undefeated monster prospects. He's super aggressive. He comes forward with reckless abandon. He keeps his hands low. He does throw spinning elbows and stuff like that. He's got big, powerful clinch knees, and he does have a big right hand. However, he drops his hands when he throws. This guy is completely open to be countered, and in a big, big way. He does have a strong whizzer. He's been working on his wrestling defense after those last two fights where he got dominated. But let's be real. Michel Pereira is not trying to wrestle this fight. Danny knows what's up. Fireball and popcorn, baby. Fap it. Probably just sit back and enjoy. Then we've got the wild man himself, Michel Pereira. Now, this is the guy. It pains me. It hurts every single time I look back on his record because Michel Pereira versus Diego Sanchez was the bet of the year, folks. This is one of the main reasons why I've been struggling to dig out of my minus units hole for all of 2020, was exactly this fight, because I went hard on Michel Pereira. This was a gift from the gods. And then the illegal knee disqualification, Diego Sanchez taking the way out to get that DQ. It hurts. It still hurts. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so this guy's a wild man. He's insanely athletic. He's really big for 170. Extremely explosive. That's all he does, is wait for an opening and then explode looking for a highlight reel KO. But he does make questionable decisions mid-fight. He's good on the mat, good in scrambles, good standing, throws flying knees, jumps off the cage, does everything you'd ever want. This fight is going to be pure fireworks, pure excitement, and I think one of these guys is going to sleep. I mean, really, the total, the under, that's kind of the only way you could possibly look in this kind of a spot, in my opinion. It's a straight pick'em, slight money on Michel Pereira, minus 115 over there, and I kind of agree with that. I'm not big on Zelim, but at the same time, Michel Pereira lost to Tristan Connolly and Diego Sanchez. At least Max Griffin and Danny Roberts are relevant fighters roughly at this point. Diego Sanchez has one foot in the grave, and Tristan Connolly, that was just, who saw that coming? So even though Michel Pereira flatlined Danny Roberts in their fight, he was the unfortunate beneficiary of this kid's UFC debut and caught him off guard with his explosiveness. The other guy didn't fare quite so well. The total right now is set at 1.5, and the under is plus 130. That may not be such a bad look. I don't know. We'll have to dig into that a little later. As you all know, I do a show here for Odds HQ that we call Total Madness, and that's going to be coming out probably on Wednesday. So make sure you turn on your notifications here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Periscope, if you're on Twitch, welcome and thank you for hanging out. But head on over to YouTube. Make sure you turn that bell on so you know when we go live, because we've got live shows constantly. And I will be breaking down this fight from a total perspective a little bit later in the week. Yeah, exactly. Michel Pereira owes me money. Where's my money, man? I completely agree. So my lean here is the under. I have no idea who is going to win this fight. I feel like Michel Pereira showed a little bit of growth in his last fight against Diego Sanchez. He was much, much slower, much more calculated. He picked his spots. He didn't rush in. He understood that Diego still had that takedown threat. So if he does the same type of thing against Zelim, if he looks to counter-strike against Zelim, then maybe he does get it done, and maybe Michel Pereira pulls it off. But Zelim is the kind of guy that you just can't count out. If you're going to strike with this guy, he can knock you out. So one of these dudes, I think, is probably going to sleep. But we will, I guess we'll just see. I'm not touching it. Not touching it. All right. Catching up on comments. How's everybody doing? I love the banter. I love the chat. I love everybody. Yep. The flip in the middle of the fight. Backflips for no reason. It's never a boring fight when Michel Pereira is in the cage. Never boring. Yeah. Low fight IQ championship. I love it. You nailed it. Couldn't get any more clear than that. All right. Believe it or not, somehow this is the co-main event. I don't know who sets stuff up over at the UFC. I love women's MMA. Let me go ahead and just get that out right here. I absolutely love women's MMA. But they got to stop putting these crap low-level women's MMA fights as the co-main events. It's so bad. Like, you have a great night, and you're supposed to be peaking on the event, and then they just slow you down to a crawl, man. Like, anytime Holly Holm is the main or the co-main event, you know it's not going to be a fun fight to watch. Sijara Eubanks has gas problems. She pulls stunts. You beat me to it, Gabriel. She's a bum. She should not be in the co-main event of the evening. Now, if you've got someone like Jillian Robertson, Amanda Ribas, like you've got these high-caliber finishers, throw them in the co-main event. Go for it. That's going to be fun. I would much rather have Michel Pereira and Zelim Imadaev be the co-main event rather than Sijara Eubanks and Karol Rosa. They should be down. I'd say they could be the second fight on the main card. Let's get warmed up with Thiago Moises. Then we'll do Sarge Eubanks versus Rosa. then Ricky Simone and Kelleher, then Pereira, Imadaev, and then cap it off with the main event. That's the order I think it should go in. Not sure why we're doing this. Eubanks is the female Bobby Green. I like it. You know what? You're not wrong, too. She's relatively solid at everything, and she fights to the level of her opponent. You pretty much nailed it spot on with calling her the female Bobby Green. Absolutely nailed it. So Eubanks, she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, or so I'm told. She's an absolute tank of a woman. She's only 6'4". She couldn't make weight, so she's now at bantamweight. She struggles on the scales every single time, no matter her weight class. She does have heavy hands, but she slows down. She's only good for one round. Rounds 2, rounds 3, they're always gritty, tough, slow. Like, that's just always hard. She can always piss away a fight. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Thanks for hanging out, buddy. I appreciate you tuning in, even if it's late. Hey, not yet. Not yet. Before the main event. Karol Rosa on the flip side. I'm actually relatively excited about Karol Rosa. She's got a high pace, really high pace. Lots of output. She always attacks in 3 and 4 punch combos. She uses heavy leg and body kicks, and she is willing to get in the pocket and trade. She's got good range management, and actually she trains with Jessica Andrade, so she's with a really, really good training partner, someone who's going to elevate her to that championship level, getting looks like that day in and day out. Right now, the money is coming in on Sijara Eubanks. She opened up plus 140. I agree, I think that's a little wide. I think that is a little bit wide for this fight, but right now, I kind of like Karol Rosa. Sitting at minus 125 as a favorite, the bookies opened her up at minus 180. I'm kind of feeling that. Seeing someone who's roughly a 2-to-1 dog, and these bookies, they don't make super big mistakes, you know? They just don't. I really want to wait and see the weigh-ins for this one, because if Sijara Eubanks struggles at all, I'm betting Karol Rosa. If Sijara Eubanks comes in tough, she looks good, she looks ripped up, maybe she had a good camp, something like that, then I'm probably going to pass and stay off it. To me, this is a Rosa or pass situation. I think Rosa's high output is going to be more than enough to get it done on the feet. She's also really thick, so having somebody like Eubanks who's going to rely on the takedown, I think she'll be able to stuff some of those takedowns. And if she can defend a couple of takedowns as Eubanks slows down, Rosa is going to crank it up. And she averages, I want to say, like a full 2 significant strikes a minute, 2 or 3 significant strikes a minute, more than Sijara Eubanks does. She's got sharper, crisper hands. She's going to outscore Eubanks. I absolutely would be Rosa or pass in this putt. And VCR buddy, I simp for several MMA women. I promise you, Eubanks and Rosa are not 2 of them. So, at this current line, I like Rosa. I think she's going to get the win. I don't want to pay minus 180 on her. But if people keep on betting Eubanks, you're going to leave me with no choice. Yeah, exactly. Good counterboxer. I'm going to have to go ahead and take Rosa, take a stab on her, especially if this line flips. If I get even money or plus 100 on Rosa, or if Eubanks shows up looking bad at the weigh-ins, definitely looking at that. All right. Well, that's it, folks. That brings us to the main event of the evening. It's a little bit of a short card this time. From the odds, they are showing that we do have Alonzo, Menifield, and OSP on this fight card. I've broken down this fight before. You already know my opinion on it. I'm not sure if it's even happening at this point, so we're just going to kind of glaze over it. I lean to Alonzo Menifield, but OSP, you know, with a couple extra weeks, I know he caught COVID, but if he was asymptomatic and it didn't really affect him, if he's got an extra week or 2 under his belt, you know, I don't know what to do with that fight. That's such a wild fight. So what we're going to do at this point is one more t-shirt roulette. Go ahead, get them in there. Start slamming t-shirts in the chat there, folks. Get on it, because we're going to give away 2 more shirts here. Let me get the feed caught up here. There we go. There we go. It's going. All right. Eyes are closed. The scrolling begins. Looping around, just giving people time. Yeah. All right. And the finger. The finger. Brian. Okay, you know what? Pause. I am so sorry. Brian Lockhart was the one my finger went on. My friend, the chat scrolled, and I clicked on Bourbon, so you guys are going to be my winners. I don't want Bourbon to get excited at home thinking he won it and then take that t-shirt away from him. But Brian, you were the one that my finger actually went to, and you were supposed to be the one that I clicked on. Those are our two winners there, Brian Lockhart and Bourbon. Congratulations, folks. Get these names written down. Oh, you know what? That's so dirty. All right, guys, 2 more t-shirts. 2 more t-shirts. Do it again. We're going again. Get the t-shirts in the chat. I don't want to end it on that note. I was supposed to be scrolling around and giving another person an opportunity, so I'm just going to give out 2 more. It's what I do. It's what I do. Here we go. Boom. Captain Marvel gets a t-shirt. Gotta tell you guys, this is kind of fun. I hope you guys are all enjoying this because I'm having fun with it. Keep going. 1 t-shirt. 1 last t-shirt to give away for the show. And our final winner of the evening is a Blind Pig. Blind Pig gets the last t-shirt of the evening. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. We've got 314 viewers this evening. Y'all are awesome. I really appreciate you all spending time with me tonight and hanging out. Congratulations on our t-shirt winners. I'm going to go ahead and recap those names just so none of you missed yourselves. We've got Grateful Dead. We've got Jay Picha, I assume. Picha? Sorry, buddy. Butchering the last name. We've got Rose D, Juicy Q, Jack Goodily, Taylor Hanna, Brian Lockhart, Bourbon, Captain Marvel, and Blind Pig. Those are our winners for the evening. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And let's talk about Alistair Overeem taking on Augusto Sakai. We have got main event action. Yeah, that's right, Danny. You get a t-shirt. You get a t-shirt. Hi. We've got heavyweight action for the end of UFC Vegas 9. And this is an interesting spot because I am coming off of back-to-back endorsements of Alistair Overeem. So Alistair Overeem, one of the savviest fighters in the UFC today. The dude is 40 years old, and y'all know the rule. We don't bet on 40-year-old fighters unless we have got a damn good reason to do so. Now, that damn good reason can be just about anything that you want it to be as long as you can justify it to yourself to go ahead and take that shot. But when you're at 40 years old, that cliff is coming. In MMA, you're up here, and then all of a sudden you're down here. And that's just how it goes. So what we've got here is a guy with a crap ton of experience. He's fought the absolute best of the best his entire career, and he's starting to hit that twilight. He's starting to wind down. We're 1-1 in the last 2. He got destroyed in the 5th round against Jairzinho Rozenstruik after fighting an absolutely perfect fight. I backed him that fight. Really thought that I was going to be cashing a ticket there on Alistair Overeem because he was able to out-grapple the greener Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But what ended up happening is Alistair faded. He doesn't have the gas tank that he used to. He started getting tired. And when he slowed down, that created the opportunity for Jairzinho Rozenstruik to go ahead and land that big bomb and robbed us of a payday with 4 seconds left on the clock. Then he fought Walt Harris. Walt Harris, I tell you guys always, there's no such thing as fairy tales in MMA. Walt Harris was supposed to get that win. Walt Harris was supposed to come in full of righteous vengeance after what happened to his daughter and be able to blast an elderly veteran with chin problems, and he damn near did it. But his adrenaline dump kicked in, he ran out of gas, and his wrestling is absolutely awful. So Walt Harris was never able to recover. After that adrenaline dump, he could not get his wind back. Alistair Overeem put him on the mat and TKO'd him in the 2nd round. But Overeem had to come back from hell for that again. He took a beating. He was busted up. He was bloody. Now he's taking on Augusto Sakai. 15-1, Augusto Sakai, 29 years old, never showed a gas tank problem. Good striker, good distance management, decently athletic, circles well, sits back and picks his shots. I talked earlier about people that don't have a sense of urgency versus people that let the knockout manifest. Augusto Sakai is the one that lets the knockout manifest. He doesn't rush anything, but he absolutely continues to keep the pressure on his opponents. I already have a bet on Augusto Sakai, and I got him at plus 155. Plus 155 is where I got Augusto Sakai. I tweeted that out a little bit earlier, and I really hope that you tailed it if you were going to tail it to get on with me, because he's crashed all the way down to plus 125. Absolute landslide of money today on Augusto Sakai. So, worst case scenario, once again, we've beat a line movement. And when it comes to MMA, that's all you can do, folks. You put your money in what you feel is a strong position, and you try to get the best of the number. Once you do that, your job is done. Then you sacrifice a goat, you pray to the MMA gods, hope they smile in your favor that night. That's all we can do. Dante, my friend, let me just go ahead and clear it. I am no way disrespecting Alistair Overeem. But what we've seen in the last couple of fights, guys like Daniel Cormier, the end is near when you're 40 years old. You don't come back from injuries the way that you used to. Your gas tank is not what it used to be. And that chin just doesn't hold up the way that it used to. And sometimes neither does the fight IQ. The things that you used to be sharp on just aren't sharp anymore. And I'm seeing the signs of that with Alistair Overeem. As I said, I've backed him the last 2 fights in a row. And I thought that he had enough left in the tank. And I've been shown the writing on the wall that Overeem is taking a lot of damage. And he is slowly fading. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice on the young buck here with Augusto Sakai. And I know not all of you are sold on Augusto Sakai, but let me tell you. Let me tell you why. So Alistair Overeem averages 3.6 significant strikes per minute. Augusto Sakai averages 5.45 significant strikes per minute. He has a much higher work rate than Alistair Overeem does. And compared to guys like Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Walt Harris, yes, he's not nearly as athletic as those two guys, but he also is not nearly as bad with his wrestling and ground game as those guys. Alistair Overeem had 0 issues getting on top of those. I could have rolled Walt Harris over. I could double leg Walt Harris and put him on his back. He's not UFC caliber when it comes to grappling. And on top of that, Augusto Sakai is a cool cucumber. He comes in here, he's not going to be hot. He's not going to have adrenaline. He's going to be willing to dance around and outland Alistair Overeem and grind his way to either a decision victory or a late TKO. Alistair Overeem is faster than Augusto Sakai, and trust me, if we rewind the clock even 2 years, I am all over Alistair Overeem in this spot. But unfortunately, I think those 2 years matter, and they matter a lot. Augusto Sakai does a pretty good job of getting out of his opponent's strikes. Alistair Overeem, like I said, he will have a speed advantage, but only for small bursts, because his gas tank isn't what it used to be. If he doesn't get an early knockout, if he doesn't clip Augusto Sakai and put him away early, I think Alistair Overeem just kind of gets grinded out over the course of a 5-round fight. Augusto Sakai doesn't sit back like Jairzinho Rozenstruik does, looking for one bomb. He doesn't dive on top of people and overextend when he makes that kill shot attempt like Walt Harris does. Those are spots that the veteran savvy of Alistair Overeem, he was able to capitalize. I don't think that Augusto Sakai is going to give him those opportunities. So far, I'm on 2 dogs. I'm on Augusto Sakai, and I am on Jalin Turner. Money's coming in on both those people already, so if you like those sides or if you want to be on them with me, you better bet them sooner than later, because that line is moving. Now, if you want to tell me that Alistair Overeem is being disrespected and that he is a Mount Rushmore quality fighter, I'm not going to argue with you. And if you think that minus 140, or God forbid if this number dips even further and you can get minus 120 on Alistair Overeem, I don't blame you whatsoever for taking that shot. Y'all know I'm a dog hunter. I look for value. Getting plus 155 on Augusto Sakai, I think, is a great line and a great opportunity. And hell, if Alistair Overeem flips over to being an underdog, we can always just hedge out and create an opportunity where it's a win-win. So I think Augusto Sakai is going to continue to take those steps up. He's going to climb that divisional ladder. I think he's finally getting a veteran name who's on his way out. And make no mistake, that's exactly what the UFC is doing here. They're giving Alistair a step down to provide the opportunity for a young buck to take a step up. And I think I'm going to go ahead and back him. And Beach Boss over here going hard with Alistair Overeem with a 7K parlay. Hey, good luck, buddy. I will always wish you luck. This is going to be a hotly debated fight. This one is going to be one that people are going to go back and forth constantly on. So don't worry. That is to be absolutely expected. And I have nothing but respect for everything that Alistair Overeem has done. But I think he is an aging veteran who finally will lose his battle to Father Time come Saturday. Thank you all very much for being with me this evening. If you want to stick around for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, that is tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about those fights real quick to wrap up the show. That's UFC Vegas 9. Thank you for hanging out with me again. I would appreciate it if you do me a favor. Smash that like button. Do me a favor and share the video. I'm still trying to break that 10K mark, folks. We came this close to having 10,000 views on a video, and I want it. Whoever at odds gets 10,000 views first gets that big gold strap the boss loves you. I want that to be me. So do me a favor. Let's get this video out there. I want to hit that number. Let's go ahead and talk about Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, shall we? If you're bouncing because you're done, you're not worried about Contender Series, thank you again so much for being with me. I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your evening. I hope you enjoy your night, and good luck on any degenerate action you've got running on baseball, basketball, or hockey this evening. So what we've got on Contender Series, I'm going to try and keep this quick. We've got Cody Brundage taking on William Knight. Cody is a guy who looks for the takedown early. He's got a heavy top game. He's only fought a very, very low level of competition, but he is training with guys like Anthony Smith and Zach Cummins from just last week. So he was literally in fight camp with those guys. And now he's coming around for a shot on the Contender Series. That's a great camp to be coming out of. Great timing to be peaking with fighters that literally just fought at the UFC level. And he's taking on William Knight. Now, William Knight is a guy who actually was on the Contender Series Season 3, and the UFC gave him a development deal. They wanted to go ahead and invest in this kid. And, Josh, no, I'm just taking the over in that fight, or in that hockey game. So, William Knight, he's on the Contender Series. He wins by knockout. He knocks everybody out. This guy's an absolute monster. He's so big. He's solid muscle, and he just crushes people. But he's super sloppy. I think he's got too much muscle on him. Honestly, I think he's one of these guys that bulked up a little bit too much, that it actually gasses him and it becomes a detriment if he doesn't get you out of there early. But kind of like a Alonzo Menifield, dude can crack. He will absolutely flatline you if you give him the opportunity. And I watched the weigh-ins this morning for this fight, and he looked bad. He missed weight. And I know that's kind of a big deal for my post-weigh-in show on Friday. So, yeah, sorry about that, Prod. Just realized I had the wrong background up while we're talking about these fights. So what ended up happening here? He missed weight by like 2.5 pounds. Just massive, massive beefcake, this dude. He looked really bad on the scales. And when they faced off, Cody is huge. Like, the size advantage is unreal for Cody. The fact that that guy is a grinder, a wrestler, and the fact that William Knight missed weight and looked bad at the scales, I'd be very, very tempted. I haven't done it yet, but I'm very tempted to bet Cody here. They're kind of bouncing this one around. It's not really a smart idea to step in front of Knight because, like I said, he's just got that knockout threat. He's that guy that could put anybody down at any time, and Cody doesn't have a ton of experience, so it's a little bit of a shot in the dark. But if I'm trusting my reads based on the weigh-ins, I think Cody Knight can't make it past round one. I think if Cody doesn't get the Knight, I think that if William Knight if he gets out of round one, he's going to gas in round two. And then Cody will be able to take the fight over. Yeah, he missed weight. 2.5 pounds, and he looked awful on the scale doing it. So I've got to lean to Cody. Not sure that I'm going to pull the trigger just yet at this point. I'm kind of hoping the money comes back in on Knight and gives me an opportunity to bet Cody at a dog price because Knight's the guy that the UFC has put their stamp of approval on. We've got Jose Johnson coming up. Ronnie Lawrence is his opponent. Now, I'm sorry, Jose Johnson is super light on his feet. He's got serious speed, vicious elbows, but he's got these really long, skinny legs. He explodes out of everything. He relies on that explosiveness, and he throws flying knees. He has all the abs. He has so many abs. You know, you see people that have like the 4 or the 6-pack, and you're like, I wish I could have that. And then you see the guys that have like the 12-pack. He's got a really lanky torso, and he's got every single ab muscle you could ever imagine. So that's what that guy rocks. Then we've got Ronnie Lawrence on the other side. Trains over at ATT. Dude fires hard leg kicks, which I love to see. Explosive knees. He moves well, good footwork, and he was in good shape. He looked pretty good on the scales. But Johnson is so much bigger. Johnson's absolutely massive on the scales. And what I did is I went ahead and put Johnson in a little bit of a parlay. So I got Johnson at minus 185. And it looks like he's been bet all the way up to minus 225. Y'all know those Contender Series lines. They move, and they move fast. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you real quick right now. My parlay is plus 137. I got Johnson and Lutz. Lutz is the other favorite I stuck in there. I got both of them at minus 185 in that parlay. Now we've got minus 205 and minus 225. So if you want to tail me on those picks and parlay those two together, I would do it sooner than later. These are the kind of ones where I think they're just going to get steamed all the way up to somewhere in the ballpark of... God, who knows? With the UFC Contender Series, who knows how wide those lines will get? They might be minus 400 by the time fight time rolls around tomorrow. So that being said, I showed my hand already. I like Lutz. He is taking on, let me get that fight up here. It's out of order. He's taking on Chase Gibson. Now, Chase Gibson, his last 4 fights in a row ended in round 1. This guy's got good kicks. He's a power striker. He floats well on top, but he's been fighting bums. And because of that, I think that's going to go ahead and bite him. Every time he's taken up a step up in competition, he's fought somebody decent, he gets crushed. Tucker Luntz on the other side of this thing, active off of his back if he gets put there. He's got super strong top control, heavy ground and pound, and he looked fantastic on the scales. There's not a ton of tape to be seen out there with Lutz, so I'm kind of going out on a limb here based on the little bit that I did see. Now, Chase Gibson's a knockout threat. He absolutely could land a knockout blow in round 1, but I think that Lutz is the better fighter, and I think if this thing, again, gets past the first couple minutes of round 1, that it's just going to be Lutz all day. So that's my parlay. I've played those two. Then I've got Jimmy Flick, who I locked up as a plus 145 underdog. Now, these are half unit shots. The volatility of the Contender Series is something that I'm still trying to figure out. So I went full units last week, and I lost a couple. So because of that, I'm backing it back down until I get a real good feel for the Contender Series. I did take the stab here on Jimmy Flick at plus 145. It looks like he's now down to plus 130. Again, these lines move, people. They move like crazy. So Jimmy Flick, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, absolute submission wizard. This dude chokes everybody out. He chains submission attacks. He looked amped up, excited, really, really good on the weigh-ins. And then he's fighting Nate Smith, who's an Elevation Fight Team member. This hurts my soul just a little bit because I'm such a fan of Elevation Fight Team. And he's coming in, obviously, good camp, good strong wrestling. He's got good balance, a good jab, but he keeps his chin out there. He's one of these guys that does this thing just a little bit too much for me, sticks his chin up in the air, and when he gets to the mat, he's got devastating ground and pound. So if this fight goes to the floor and Nate Smith is the one that gets on top, then I really think that he's going to get a ground and pound KO. He's also got a tight squeeze. You don't want this guy on your back. If you can play totals, I don't think Jimmy Flick versus Nate Smith lasts very long at all. Mario, what's up, buddy? Just brushing, man, brushing. I did the Invisalign. When I was a kid, I did the Invisalign, and it worked wonders straightening my teeth out. I didn't have braces when I was playing football, so didn't have to be one of those guys spitting blood out and stuff like that because the metal got up in there and chewed your gums up. So pretty happy my parents did that for me. I'm very, very grateful. There you go, Josh. Got plus 175. That's a nice line right there. I wish I could get that one myself. And then the main event of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Melik Baghdasaryan? Taking on Denis Bouzoukia? Yeah, really tough last names, not bad names. Really tough last names to pronounce. Malik comes in here against Dennis. I'm just going to call them by their first names. Malik has been training MMA since he was 6 years old. This dude is serious. He fought in K1, Glory. He was the WLF kickboxing champion. Very serious striker. This guy is athletic and tough. The only downside I see to him is that he trains with Edmund Tavarian. Now, yes, Ronda Rousey's Edmund Tavarian. Head movement! That guy. So we have recently seen Edmund's fighters all top out, right? We just saw Shabazian get absolutely derailed. We know Ronda Rousey, even after they were talking about her being able to outbox Floyd Mayweather, got taken out. Like, Edmund is not a good coach. I'm sorry. But this kid is legit. He's been striking at a high level for a long time. He's legit. Taking on Dennis. Dennis has these powerful clinch knees. I loved watching those things. And he's willing to trade in the pocket. He also throws these spinning elbows. And he's got a bad spinning elbow knockout, which that's a fun one to watch. Go look his highlights up. He is in serious shape for this fight. Dennis looked absolutely solid. And he's training out of the Ray Longo fight camp. So he's training with guys like Merab, Aljo, Weinman. I mean, he's got a sick fight camp. Thick, well-muscled, love this kid. So I really lean Dennis in this spot, and I think that's because of his ability to have a better mixed martial arts game. Dennis might be able to mix in the takedowns, put Malik on his back, that kind of thing, nullify that striking game. And we've always talked about the threat of the takedown. Just if he can put that question in the mind of Malik that he's going to take him down, that shuts down a little bit of that striking offense. So yeah, I think Dennis is going to be the pick here. I don't know if I'm actually going to bet it. This one's a straight pick 'em, and it's another one of these bangers that really could go either way. So I'm thinking slight lean to Cody Brundage. Probably not betting it because Knight is just such a monster and can knock out anybody, even though he missed weight and looked bad on the scales. Slight lean to Dennis. I have bet Jimmy Flick, and I've parlayed Jose Johnson and Tucker Lutz. That's my look, folks. That's my Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Join us tomorrow. We will be live streaming during the Contender Series. We'll be giving out our picks and our bets as the action goes on. It's going to be the Odd Squad. It'll be me and Guru, and I believe Just Bleed is going to be joining us as well. So thank you all so much. And I appreciate y'all taking part tonight. I hope you guys with the t-shirts message me over on Twitter at DieHardMMAPod, and let's link up to make sure I get you your winners there. I appreciate you all. You guys have no idea. The love, the positivity, the opportunity to get away from the toxicity of the world, times like these. Nothing makes me happier than sitting here with you all talking about fights and betting and going back and forth. It's fantastic. And without you guys, there wouldn't be a show. So thank you all so much for all your love and support. I really appreciate it. Danny Seho, James Woodruff, Nev Rowe, the OGs, Jason Durillo, and in case any of you are wondering, that's how it's spelled. Derek Anthony, Ended the Fed? Martial arts fan, I think that's a new name. Thank you for joining, my friend. If you've been here before, I apologize. I don't recognize that one. Nail the Security, Grateful Dude, Steven Sparks, all of you. Dan P, Emanite, Mario, who you got, bro? Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you all. That was a good one, everybody. That was a good one. We will see you live tomorrow. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Be that shining beacon of positivity that you wish you had in your life. Surround yourself with positive people, and your life will look better. You'll have more reasons to be happy, and you will infect other people with positivity rather than rubbing their negative off on you. Have a wonderful week, everybody. See you later. Let's roll.